Hello and welcome to a short build guide here on my channel. I usually do not do content like this, but as I did not have another video for this slot, I thought I could make a short build guide without the usual BS you have to get through. Today I will show you a Kiriko clone build that I personally used to reach Legend and Stadium. Let's get started. You obviously first pick the clone power as your starting power. Then as your starting items, start a 5% weapon power and 5% attack speed, with the armored vest, the 25 armor, to give you a bit more survivability in the beginning rounds. As a big disclaimer for up, the clone will not give you any stats on the scoreboard or will generate any stadium cash. I have to say this for up because I had to already answer this question in YouTube comments a couple of times. And it will explain something I will tell you. Your first two rounds will be basically the same, just that you are a stronger Kiriko. You will play the first round as a standard Kiriko round. You will try to generate as much cash as possible and use the clone as little as possible. And only use it when you need the extra hand, so to say, to win the fight. As you reach the second round, you wanna buy only blue items. Blue items in the weapon category specific. You want to reach the highest possible combined weapon power and attack speed you can get with your money. To get that, you have to fiddle around with the items. I won't hold your hand and tell you exactly for every possible scenario what combination of items you should get. Then you play the second round, basically the same as the first round. You will not try to use the clone as much as possible and try to play it like any other Kiriko game. Now that you reach the third round, you will pick the Fleetfoot power, and again, you try to get as much attack speed and weapon power as you can for the money you have. Again, limit yourself only to blue items, because you have to just fill your 6 slots full of them until you should buy anything from the purple tabs, as otherwise it's not as efficient. Now that you have the directional TP for Kiriko, you can start to make plays. As such, you should always rush out of spawn as quick as possible and try to get and flank the enemy as soon as you can. You have to remember that your clone will only attack if there's no teammate in line of sight of that clone that wants healing. As such, you have to play isolated in a way so that your clone attacks. You will try to get a pick on somebody very quickly, as now you're basically on a timer, as you're not supporting your team directly. And on certain maps you can get some easy pickups with the TP and the clone, and on other maps you have to be a bit more patient and see how the team is. A good general rule is that you want to have to TP out of line of sight of your team, behind the enemy team or to the side of the enemy team. Your clone will only help you to kill them, you still have to shoot them too. In the fourth round you buy the first purple item. The first purple item I usually go for is the Booster Jets weapon epic item. After I bought it, I will again just try to get as much weapon power and attack speed as I can for my money. Like the round before, you will try to get picks as soon as possible again. In the fifth round, you pick the double Zuzu, 2 Zuzu power, and this time you will also buy a next epic weapon item. I usually go first for the Eye of the Spider, then again try to reach as a high weapon power and attack speed as I can with blue items. Your old strategy does not change again. You just become even more lethal and even more aggressive now that you have 2 Suzus, and try to take even more aggressive duels. You should not play at all with your team, as such your actual cash income will not be high, so remember that. Normally at this point I usually win this game. You rarely go for the full length, the 7 rounds. Usually if you go for the 7 rounds, it means one person on your team is probably feeding their brains out, and or the enemy team has somebody who is carrying the team very hard. As you go through the last rounds, you try to reach a high amount of weapon power and attack speed. If the enemy team is actually dealing with you and try to pressure you early on, there are 2 items that I sometimes take to combat that. There's, in the survival tab, 2 epics. That's the Goddess Aura item that gives you 100 overhealth after a swift step. So when you TP behind them, you have 100 overhealth. There's also Talisman of Life survival item that gives you 100 overhealth for your Suzu. I usually never actually buy both of them. Rarely I need that if the enemy team is actually very hard pressuring me, which usually means that they're getting shot down by my team and I'm doing my job in a way. So, but keep that in mind that you might buy these 2. As your last power, if you ever need it, there's 2 possible ways you can do. As you are fully into weapon power, usually going for any kind of thing that would give you either more cooldowns or more damage. So for me and for what I tried out, there's only 2 powers that make sense. That is either as it reduces the cooldown by 15% for each headshot you hit and refund 3 ammo. I have been saved by that item in the last round a couple of times. When I was dueling somebody and I hit a headshot and just got another Suzu off just in time. The other item is Spirit Rail, which is a Kitsune Rush item that makes Kiriko, that makes yourself invulnerable for 4 seconds. I've used that item I think 3 or 4 times to TP behind the enemy team, drop my ult, and just Suzu my clone to keep it up and damaging, as you're invulnerable. As such, you can't take damage and your clone will continuously shoot and try to kill somebody. At that point you have roughly a combined weapon power and attack speed of over 100%. As such, your clone will be able to kill at least 1 or sometimes even 2 people before the 4 seconds invulnerability ends. And that's basically it for the entire build. I hope I could help you with this short video. I don't know how long this is, but I hope I stay below like 10 minutes at least. Hope I see you in the next season. I'm very excited about Zen, and see you then. Bye bye.